Right, hopefully that's all set up correctly and you can hear me. Right, so hopefully it should all be working. I'm just going to refresh the browser because it seems my my browser page is broken a bit here. My webcam looks a bit dodgy because I've never quite liked this webcam. It's got one of those things that never sits quite straight on the thing, so I'm always worried it's going to fall off. So, here we go. Alright, and I'll pause the video at my end because otherwise that's quite distracting, I find, where it's a bit behind, but I'll have to play the video while I try and get the webcam sorted, so bear with me a moment. Now, is that right? Is that right? Alright, Mike. Yep. Alright, Peach. Yep. So, hopefully this is all going alright and you can hear me, and hopefully this is much better quality than when I normally use the crappy little mic on that webcam. Because I've now got the blue one here. Good, yeah. The only thing I might have to do with this blue one is get, I was saying to people before, get some of that sort of sound foam and put behind it. Now it's a bit annoying because now I've got the thing there, I don't want to move this, but let me just quickly show you if that's visible. So that's the microphone. I'll put that back roughly where it was. But what I'll probably need to do is put some insulation sort of foam behind it, because what tends to happen when I've been doing some audio tests with it is that it picks up the computer fan noises a bit as well, because it's got quite a good audio pickup. So it's mostly directional, like I've got the directional bit facing me, but it's not brilliant in the sense that, I mean, it's in a way it's good that it can pick up other sound, but it's not that great in the sense that because my computer's there on the desk, I'm only a sort of foot away from it or whatever, that it picks up sound from the computer. So in a load of the backgrounds you can hear the fans where you can hear that of the old mic, but the old mic was a bit crap. But regardless, I'll wait for a few more people to get on the stream and then we'll start it properly. I think what's happened is some people probably haven't realised they need to leave that stream and then, you know, click my new stream, but it seems people are coming in now. So hopefully this is all set up properly. But yeah, because I was looking at quite a few different sort of microphones and then I ended up going with the blue ones because I knew why they were sort of expensive for what they are. People said they were really good. Whereas I'm typically one of those people who often buy cheap and then buy twice. I'll, you know, say, well, that one looks alright for 20 quid and then not be happy with it. But this one should mean as well, if ever I'm just recording desktop audio, this is a much better way of doing it as well. If I ADR videos, although I normally prefer using the sort of camcorders thing and doing all the talking live, because I find for some reason if I you know, do the talking later, I find it much harder to find things to say even if I'm reviewing footage and talking about it than if I'm actually talking to the camera at the time. It's a bit weird, I don't know why, but yeah, right. The thing that annoys me with this webcam is it keeps cutting off the bottom of my head, even though whenever I adjust it I always think I'm in frame quite well, so I don't know if there's an easy way of sorting that out. I might in the recording software be able to drag it up a bit. That's better. What I might do at some point as well is get a 1080p webcam, because I think that's because it's 720p and it stretches it out to be a full frame. That's why it ends up looking a bit stretched, and it's, you know, not great in that regards. Alright, Bionic Commando. So, the reason I called this Spooky Stream, and hopefully it does show up as Spooky Stream to all the people watching, is I thought we'd do all the weird sort of little ghost story things, and people, if they've got any weird ghost stories that they can type in for 200 or less characters, could do it. I'm just going to check on my phone that the stream is called Spooky Stream, if it's showing it, isn't it? Yeah, it's showing a Spooky Stream X1. Alright. Now, I'm not sure if I've done this before. Spooky Stream. Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Linux. Yeah, I did check it on my phone, but, yeah, glad it does, because it did say Stronghold 2, and then I edited it and clicked save, so I was hoping it would save it, but... Right, cool. See you in a bit, Peach. I don't know how long I'll be doing this stream for, but I thought more people would enjoy this if they eventually get onto it than with the Stronghold one, but, yeah, what was I going to say? So, have I told everybody, yeah, I'm saying you can probably get them cheap now. Bear in mind, I bought this one a couple of years ago, so it's one of those things where I could easily buy one, it's just, I'll have to do some research, find one as well. One of my main complaints is getting one that has a good screen mount, because a lot of the ones I've looked at before, like this one, aren't that brilliant, and they're, you know, typically ones you can never adjust quite right or anything else. Because this is one that either has a habit of falling off the screen, or when you've got it somewhere that's secure, it's not quite at the angle you want it on. So I'll do some research before getting one and try and find another good one, then I can combine it with that microphone I've bought there. Especially when I've got a bit of insulation sound foam on that microphone, which I have a really good setup for streaming. This isn't a Q&A vid, no. I might answer some questions if people haven't, but we're mostly going to do ghost stories and weird stuff in this stream. Oh, Mike, I did watch Shogun Assassin. I thought that was really good, because you recommended that. I sort of thought that must have influenced John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China, where they had the guys in the three big hats that had all the different things. Yeah, the last man on Earth was alone in his room. There was a knock on the door, and there's another version that says the last man alone was alone in his room. There was a lock on the door. I suppose it could have been the last woman on Earth. That might be alright. But yeah. If you like the last man on Earth type things, read I Am Legend. But yeah, Mike, yeah, that was great, Shogun Assassin. I think there's some sequels to that, isn't there? So I have to check that out. I also watched Virus that a few of the other people recommended in your stream. I thought that was alright. So I didn't realise that had Donald Sutherland in until I was watching it. So yeah, have I told people about the Land Rover story? Because that's one of the interesting ones, and I don't know if I actually did a video on this or not, or if I included it in one of my creepy videos. So if I haven't said the Land Rover story before, I'll say the Land Rover story. Right, this is one, I guess you'd call it a phantom car story, because I had a couple of weird experiences while driving, and this was one where I was driving down dual carriageway during the day, so you could see perfectly. Quite a long straight dual carriageway, not loads of entrances and exits. So obviously if you look in your rear view mirror and there's a car, unless they overtake you and drive off really fast, or they brake and reverse off, you're not going to have much that breaks your line of sight with that car. And there was one day I was driving along this dual carriageway and I had a rusty old Land Rover behind me. Didn't think much of it. He wasn't tailgating or anything, so he was a polite enough driver. And it was one of those things where, you know, about 20 seconds later I glanced back in my rear view mirror and he was totally gone. And there were no entrances or exits to the dual carriageway there, so it was a bit weird. Don't know if you should be thankful or not thankful if you haven't had anything spooky happen, because I think a lot of people would rather not have anything spooky happen then, but there's also, it's kind of interesting, isn't it, when you have all that spooky stuff, especially because a lot of it at the time never seemed spooky. But I've had other weird things happen when I've been driving, but often I don't know if that's just, you know, like when you're driving in the dark with headlights on and you're on a country road, often the shadows and that can play tricks on you, so often I don't think any of those were particularly spooky, but that is apparently a thing. If you search like phantom cars and all that, you can find lots of stories, especially from like truckers and people who spend a lot of time driving, that they've had weird experiences where like cars seem to vanish and stuff like that. Yeah, I haven't had any, like, you know, like you pick up a hitchhiker and then the person vanishes. I've not had anything like, you know, creepy like that, but obviously, you know, I think I've had that more than once actually. I've had that before with people on like footpaths, where you're on a footpath and it's not easy to walk into the bushes, you know, they're quite thick sort of bushes on the side of the paths, and there's somebody walking at the same sort of pace as you, sort of 30 yards down the path, and then you go around a corner and they're suddenly gone. I mean, yeah, they could have found somewhere to sneak through the bushes, but that's always weirded me out. And I've had that, you know, a couple of times when I've been walking. I wouldn't really say that was ghosts or anything, but it's one of those little weird things. I have a Discord server, Seawolf, but it's for people who support me on Patreon only. There's a link to my Patreon, and it's $1 a month, so I don't charge very much for it. But I set it as Patreon only, so I only get people on there who aren't going to be abusive. Yeah, like I say, and it could easily be people playing tricks on you sometimes. Cool. Glad to see you back. I didn't see you saying you were going AFK or anything, but cool that you're back. I think I did mention this in one of the other videos I did on creepy things, when there was once when I was in the woods. Well, it wasn't the woods, it was like this... yeah, I have mentioned this one. It's like a drainage kind of ditch that's... the annoying thing is I think they might have even built over this now, because otherwise I'd actually go down there with the camera and see if I could see anything. It's not too far away from me, but one of my friends used to live near it. And it's like one of those old drainage kind of storm tunnels, but it was, you know, actually a natural one. It wasn't where it was concrete on the sides, but there was a couple of those drainage tunnels. And we kept hearing like footsteps behind us, or like, you know, twigs cracking behind you. And if you hear one or two of those noises, you think it's just, you know, random noises. But we kept hearing it, you know, like 10 yards behind you, you'd keep hearing like footsteps or somebody like clang something. And we kept, you know, looking around, didn't see anything. Walked a bit further. It's a bit creepy, that place, anyway. I was saying it's a shame. I don't think it's all there now. I think they built houses over a lot of it. You know, even though they're building them on a floodplain because they want to build more houses. And then we got to a certain point, and the wind picks up all the leaves in a really weird way, and that creeped us out, and we ran off. But that was probably when we were like 6 or 7. But yeah, have I said my Man in Black story? I might have done, but it's when I actually contacted Nick Redfern over, who wrote a couple of sort of non-fiction books on the Men in Black. Yeah, that's sort of a bit creepy, where you get the ones where there's like a face behind a window or something. Yeah, it's one where he was on a path he couldn't really get off of easily. You know, there wasn't, again, like when the cars disappeared, there's no easy way to get off, and I thought there was somebody staring at me. Right, I'll tell it from the beginning. So if you you can actually look at this if you've got spare bandwidth at the moment. If you search Chesil Beach into Google, I'll just do this now so I can kind of point out where it is. If you go on Google, you can either look on the Google Images or you can look on Google Maps, but if you look up Chesil Beach, you'll be able to see there's kind of like a road that goes on the inland bit. It's probably easier on the Google Maps side. It's near Weymouth anyway. If you go on Google Maps, you'll be able to find this easily. If you type in Chesil Beach into Google Maps, you'll be able to see there's a bit called Portland Beach Road that goes between the Isle of Portland, which is connected by this kind of little land bridge, and like the mainland. And on that, if you kind of look at it with the street view, you'll be able to see that, like looking down that bit, there's not obvious places people could get away from the road. Especially it's if you go back a bit closer to the actual mainland, not the Portland end. So I'm just backing it up so I can kind of tell it as I'm looking at it, because it's quite useful to not be doing it in front of the regular camera, so I can kind of show you if you're following along. If not, it doesn't matter. It's annoying I can't easily switch while streaming and bring this up to show you, but basically I was looking in a window where we were staying there on holiday once, looking down here, and it's like a straight road. There's kind of water on both sides. So you've got like the dual carriageway, or it's actually single carriageway, but yeah. Single carriageway, cars going each way about 60 miles an hour. And then there was a couple of road signs. I don't know if they're still there or when the Google thing was taken, if that's from the same period. Right, where the Think Bike bit is I'm looking at, this was taken July 2016. So this was after my experience. This was in 2011. There's a national speed limit sign, Think Bike, and it might have been on that bit. Basically, I looked out the window because I kept thinking I was being watched. I'll just go back to the comments on this video in a minute. basically, I was looking out the window, because like where I was sitting in one of the houses we were staying in, it's sort of the window looks out onto that road, but obviously from up, it's sort of you're looking at it from an elevated position. Well, I kept feeling like I was being watched, and so it's like you'd look out the window, you wouldn't see anything, so you go back to doing whatever you're doing, then you'd look out the window, couldn't see anything, and then eventually. I looked out and I spotted some legs, and it's like really comedic, because if you go back to the street view one where the speed limit sign is, I can't remember if it was that sign or another one, but it was like that. There was like somebody's legs out from under the sign, and then there was somebody there. Oh, it's a shame I haven't got like a little book handy, but it's like, in a cartoon, if when somebody's trying to hide and it's really obvious and they're sort of behind a wall like that and their face is sticking out, it was like that. And you could see his legs and the side of him sticking out from behind the like sign. And he had bear in mind it's middle of summer, it's like nearly 30 degrees. I mean, it's quite nice, you got the sea breeze there, but regardless, there's somebody, like in the black suit, all in black with a tie and everything, and like the little bowler hat on and whatever else, and sunglasses. And you think that's totally the wrong weather. Yeah, I'll still finish it for the people who haven't heard this. You think that's totally the wrong weather for him being there like that, and what's he doing, It's like comical. He stood there, yeah, so I kept looking, this guy was just stood there, he wasn't moving, he was like totally stood there like he was observing something. I don't know if he was looking at me or he was looking at somebody else. And it's annoying I didn't have like my 30 or 50 times zoom camera that I have now, because if I had that I'd have got a picture of him, but I thought, that's really weird. And in the other room we had some binoculars, so I thought I'm going to go get the binoculars and I'm going to look at him. And I said, there's water on both sides, he can't easily run off, and a car can't really stop on a 60-mile-an-hour road to pick you up, So I ran to get the binoculars. I was gone less than a minute, 20 seconds maybe. Looked down binoculars, he was gone. There was no way you could have run that fast away. But that's very similar to a lot of the stories like that people have, the Men in Black, and like now I've looked at the Men in Black afterwards and like I heard about them. It's very similar stuff, where somebody disappears very quickly. I didn't have somebody knock on my door and do all the interrogation stuff, but it is similar to a lot of those stories that people have said. Right, I'll read some of what you said now, because when I was telling that one. Yeah, I live in England, for the people asking. I thought that would be obvious from the accent. Did you find that comforting, Thomas, talking to him, or do you find it like creepier now in memory that you did it and stuff like that? No, I don't think I've heard of G-War or Jawar. I'll look them up. I won't obviously listen to them now, but... They look a bit like Lordi, the Finnish band. But like I said, obviously I haven't listened to their music, so... Yeah, that sort of creepy old lady who's gone now, yeah. Who could have been trolling read the same books you have? What do you mean? If the Czech CM4 came with its proper filter, I don't actually know if that's safe or not. It's one of the unconfirmed filters. I mean, ideally you'd want like a Polish FP5 or a modern filter to put on it that's totally safe and works, but I don't really know. If it's not leaking, I don't think it would be that risky, to be honest, but it's totally up to you. Guy with a picture of the alien asked if we believe in aliens. Maybe he's actually a grey gathering research. I don't know. I think with the size of the universe, it would be very unlikely we are alone. But would we want to meet aliens? Because if they knew where Earth was and knew us, they might try and conquer us, because they'd have the technology to, sorry if I keep itching my nose. For whatever reason, my nose is really itchy there. And it's, you know, that irritating thing where I bet if I wasn't on stream on camera, it wouldn't be itching, but it's one of those things, and I bet if I itch, it'll actually get worse, but... AI horror story, or is that our horror story? Yeah, that's sort of saying, Mike. I think with the size of the universe and, you know, all the potential unlimited worlds or whatever that are out there, it'd be very unlikely that we're not the only, you know, Earth's not the only place in the universe where life can be sustained. Weird Al? What, Weird Al doing songs? Or artificial intelligence. I don't have any really creepy stories of that. I've had well, this will make people laugh, where I shaved my head. The shaver I've got, I guess it's either because it's screwing up and it's old, but it kept turning on by itself, and we had to let the battery totally drain down. We worried it was going to burst into flames, so we put it in the bath, but it was like, you know, it just started buzzing and like the clippers were on. And then you turn it off. Well, you couldn't turn it off because it's already in the off position, so you have to turn it on and off, on and off, on and off until, you know, it actually went off properly. And then, you know, it'd be like 5 minutes later, start up again. And then, like, you know, keep repeating it until the battery totally drained. Obviously, Rowan, yes. Are you gonna make a proper comment, Corbin? No, that's not a scar on the wall, it's the FN foul or L1A1. But yeah, I shave mine to 0. I think it's 0.5mm. Mike might know. It's when you take the guard off the clippers, because I find it's actually easier not using the guard, although sometimes I manage to cut myself behind my ears doing that, because... No, I haven't got 666 on my head. Saying that, if I have a possessed clipper, maybe it'll carve 666 into my head. You never know. I'm hoping that thing's going to still work. I'm going to, rather than charging the battery next time I want to use it, I'm going to run it off the electric lead. And then if it plays up doing that, I have got some other clippers I can cut my hair with, but then I'll have to buy a new set of actual hair clippers. What, like an actual rake through the floorboards, or like the rake creepypasta thing? I think he's just spamming chat, to be honest, so we can get rid of him. Yeah, there we go. Kick says, a fascist. Are you asking me if I'm a fascist? No, I'm not. I think you're actually on my Discord server, though, aren't you? Where we post all that sort of stuff, but no. I mean, you post the communist stuff on there, don't you? Or is that somebody else who keeps posting all the commie stuff on there? But my Discord server at the moment for the Patreon is people arguing between fascism and communism, quite full stop, which is quite funny. Fascists are political ideology, Rowan. But yeah, it's my Discord server's quite funny for anybody obviously doesn't support me on Patreon and doesn't see it. It's like where I'll come in every now and then, it's people arguing about politics non-stop. It's like, not you doing that, yeah. No, I don't really get involved with all the politics stuff on there. No, good. You're not a commie. But yeah. No, I'm actually quite centrally right. If you look on the political compass, I'm quite boring. I'm like central right, but... I think we were mostly posting music videos when we were doing it, but yeah. I've got a bomber jacket and all that, and I shave my hair, but I'm not neo-Nazi, no. I'm a bit more boring, I'm afraid. But yeah, should we get back to speaking about creepy stuff rather than left versus right politics? Just waiting to see if anybody else is going to leave more comments out there. No, I've never tried talking like Bloody Mary in the mirror several times, or whatever it is. Never tried that, so, you know, I doubt anything's going to happen, though. I would say, though, mirrors are quite creepy. I wouldn't really want to look into, you know, a mirror and see all that. Don't really have any creepy Home Alone experiences, to be honest, despite the fact that I am home alone a lot. Don't have really much happen, to be honest. Like I said, I've had far more experiences that are weird at work when I used to be at Argos than I ever had here. You know, like weird smells that would come out of nowhere and then go. Objects moving around. You'd see like a shadowy figure out the corner of your eyes, sometimes walking somewhere, then you'd go over and there's nobody there. Yeah, I know a lot of people who say don't mess around with Ouija boards, or Ouija, however it's pronounced. Don't know myself. I mean, I've never messed about with one, but there's a lot of things like that, isn't there? Where even people who don't believe in ghosts say you don't mess about with that. But yeah, I've heard of all those sort of stories, like somebody appears behind you in the mirror, and that I don't believe any of those. There's some quite creepy ones, isn't there? Like what's like, you know, all the creepy pastas you get. What's the one about? There's like one where you make a doll that tries to kill you. Is it the Midnight Man, another one? Let me Google Midnight Man and see if that's it. Oh great, there's a film based off of the creepypasta now. That's exactly what you need, isn't it? Cheap cash in horror films from stuff that doesn't need it. Yeah, I can't actually find the original Midnight Man thing now, because there's obviously film, but it's like a thing where it's meant to be that you know, there's meant to be this thing where you can summon some guy who hunts you in the dark. I mean, it's all nonsense, but some of them are quite well written to actually be creepy. I think it's probably a lot of the houses just weren't built with basements in mind. I mean, a lot of older houses actually have cellars and coal cellars, but like most of the 60s and 50s, like rebuilds after World War II, didn't have basements or cellars or anything like that. Oh, you can get the thing, can't you, quite a lot, Mike, where you think somebody's somewhere or think somebody's looking at you, and then it makes you jump or a bit, you know, nervous, and then you look and nobody's there. I mean, you can get that a lot, but I've never actually had any experiences, you know, where I've looked and there's been somebody there. Although, didn't you say once you sort of saw the shadow person, or you thought you saw a shadow move somewhere? A bit of both, Stephen. I shave my hair because it's convenient. I don't like having long hair. A lot of people have said, is it because like you're bald in there or something? No, it's just because I don't like having long hair, because I get quite bad dermatitis as well. And if I have my hair short, I can keep my scalp really clean, and then that never comes back. But as soon as my hair gets long, it looks like I've got horrible dandruff. And yeah, it'll work with masks better when it's the summer as well, and we're meant to be in spring now, but it doesn't feel very warm yet. It's quite nice to have short hair in the summer. I don't know what the yellow canisters on the PMK one are for. I've never seen them. No, I've never had sleep paralysis. I've had a couple of lucid dreams and weird things like that. Never sleep paralysis. But yeah, like you're saying, Mike, I have seen a shadow kind of thing in the mirror once, which I think I said on a video, but that was when I was really young. But I wonder if that video still exists. There used to be quite a creepy one you could find on YouTube, and it was what was it called? It was something like Waverly Hills Sanatorium, where they had the shadows keep setting off the cameras. There's quite a few videos that say like Shadow Man at Waverly Hills, but I can't, I don't know if there's a proper video I saw, but it was like some, you know, ghost hunter sort of program thing. And they, what they did was, had like a laser tripwire for a camera. And they had quite a few photos that they put all into like a time-lapse thing where you could, it did seem like there were shadows of people walking down the corridor over and over and over. Yeah, that's cool, Licks, but I don't think I've ever watched your videos or heard of that other thing. I don't think I've watched top 15s at all, to be honest. Like, I quite like a lot of those, like, most haunted things. We were saying about that in your stream, weren't we? It's like, I don't know if I believe in all the stuff they find on a lot of those. I reckon a lot of those could, you know, obviously do fake stuff for the not streams, but for the, like, shows, you know. Somebody go, oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? When there wasn't any sound at all. But I find them quite interesting, those, and quite fun to watch, even if a lot of it's nonsense. That sounds cool. If you found a World War II bunker, what country is that in? At some point, I might go back to those sewage works that are not too far away from me and do some more filming there. I haven't been there in ages. I walked past it not too long ago when I went on a walk, but I didn't bother going in because like I was already been on quite a long walk. The one I like is Ghost Adventures. What's he called? Zach Bagans, who's in that. He's an interesting bloke. Because he's like one of those people who seems to really believe in it, but at the same time he's quite a showman. So you're never quite sure if he's, you know, being real about something or he just wants it to be real and all that sort of stuff. If you don't remember subscribing, I can't help you there. Yeah, that's cool. Like, there's not much near me, World War II stuff. There's, I think there's some woods that are maybe 30 miles away where they have some old facility, but I can't remember if that's actually one you can get in or not. As in, like, you know, they might have security guards there. Well, it's all this thing where people are arguing about conspiracies and tinfoil hats. I think I missed a bit of the bit, when they must have started doing that. Let's have a look at your thing, GTA, quickly. So you've got an imager link on your profile. Mystery photo, I guess it is. That's cool. So did you find that photo in your basement? It looks kind of like a guy in a diving suit or something. Yeah, quite a few, Stephen. Like most of their generation, because they were conscripted anyway. If it's meant to be a secret nuclear bunker, it's not very secret if lots of people have found it. Yeah, I'm trying to think now. Oh, thank you very much, Game Maniac. Cheers. I'm trying to think now if I've actually got any other weird ones. I'm sure I have. What I'll have to do with these is I have to start writing them down on a list whenever I think of you know, like all these other creepy things. There's a weird bloke actually. When I go for walks quite often in like the little hedgerows where I film the night vision stuff, it's not. I don't think it's the Michael Myers bloke. It might be, but there's this bloke who is sometimes lurking around in some of the fields, and I don't know if he works. Because then I think the fields there aren't technically owned by like farmers or anything. They're owned by like one of the Oxford University kind of type things where they use it for some sort of flower research or some bollocks like that. But like, I don't know if he's involved with that, and he's sometimes there because he has to make phone calls there. You know, like stuff like that. But like now and again you'll be on a walk and you always see the same bloke loitering around in an empty field, and I never know why. I mean, see, if you're going to deal drugs, it seems like a really stupid place to do it. So I have no idea what that bloke does. Maybe he does actually work there. It's one of those things, like now and again you'll go down there, it's just a bloke like loitering around in an empty field. It's a bit weird. Now, have you not seen the video then, Limaximus? That's Mike called him Michael Myers. I'll tell you which video it is. I can probably, because I'm the person doing the video, it should let me post the video in the chat. It's on one of my Night Fox videos. I wonder if I search Night Fox, if so I don't think many people have done videos of the 8ER, so I can probably find my videos easily on there. Well, typically I can't. Let me open the thing. I'll get up for you in just a second, but yeah, what the story was, I was out filming with my night vision, and there was a guy who did the funny walk, looked a bit like he'd shit himself, and Mike, weapon collector, when he watched the video, said it looks like Michael Myers. It did make me laugh, actually. But everybody I've shown that clip to said, what a weird walk that bloke has. Oh, it's on the review and footage video. Okay, let me get this up.
Hello, so I'm going...
Right, there you go. It's this video. If you can click the link. And it's near the end. I filmed some guy who was walking along acting really weird. It was quite funny. Yeah, I try and answer all the comments normally. Some days I just get loads of comments and I can't reply, especially when people are doing the weird sort of comments where I'm not sure how I'm meant to reply to them exactly. Where, you know, you can't work out if they're asking a question or something similar. So yeah, I'm not sure if that is the same bloke that's sometimes hanging around in the fields or not. Because he, when, what, Game Maniac? But, I was saying, there's that weird bloke who's sometimes in the fields. I'm not sure if it was the same person or not, because I didn't get a very good look at him with the night vision. I like how we're meant to be talking about creepy stuff and then people are talking about Fallout 4 in the comments. I mean, I suppose you could say Fallout 4 is a bit creepy with all the NPCs that just keep repeating themselves. I'm not a fan of communism, weirdly. Hitler, I don't think you are either, are you? Oh, some of the names people have on YouTube. But no, I'm not a fan of commies. The 100 million plus murdered by the Soviet Union. But yeah, I get all the dictators on my comments, apparently. I get Stalin on some of them, Pol Pot, Kim Jong-un, get all of them. What, spooky that a guy with Adolf Hitler's profile is watching the video right now. Well, I think the original Minuteman got that name because it was that they were meant to be able to respond to the British in a minute. You know, like getting their rifles and engaging British soldiers in the, you know, Revolutionary War. The one you can see the bottom of in there is the L1A1 SLR, like the British version of the FN FAL, but sadly it's an on-firer. I suppose you can eat cereal though, can't you, without milk, unless it's one of those cereals that's really dry and will scratch your throat without milk, but I sometimes eat cereal, just in a bowl with a spoon, no milk. Alright, UB fail. I haven't heard if you don't like Ubisoft games. Has Far Cry 5 flopped yet? I've not really been following it at all. Don't think I've had a Churchill on the chat. I might have had a Churchill on the chat actually, but I get a lot of people who make the profiles of the famous people throughout history. Yeah, I've heard the C4 is a really good mask. But like I said, the issue is I've never seen one for sale in Britain for a sensible price, you know, that's not going to cost me loads and loads and loads of money. So, you know, I've never got one for that reason. If I did see one for sale that wasn't stupidly priced, I'd definitely like a C4, but I've always seen them for like several £100. I've actually read Oswald Mosley's book, funnily enough. I think that's My Life, isn't it, his book's called? I have read that. I mean, he would have probably been a lot better leader than a lot of the people we've had, but he never was a leader, so you never know. I did look into Bitcoin a bit, but like I said, I don't think cryptocurrencies for that, you know, like I said, because I've not massively read into crypto, I'm not probably the best person to ask, but from what I understand, it seems a bit weird to have a currency that's not backed by any actual value. I certainly wouldn't want to invest in a cryptocurrency. Alright, AV106. I don't think you can buy deactivated C4, no. You can, what you can get here is like deactivated rocket launchers and a lot of the rockets for them and like missile launchers and all that, but GP5's alright. I've got my GP5 down there actually, one of them, because I did have one hanging on the wall, but I knocked it off the wall by accident and I've not bothered hanging it back up. I might just put it somewhere else, to be honest. GP5 isn't amazing mask, obviously, but it's alright. So should we get this back on the subject of creepy and weird and paranormal and aliens and all that sort of stuff, rather than video games and dictators? When you say drinking adapters, do you mean things like this, so I can plug my like S10 and Avon masks into the canteen? Because I've got those, I've done videos on those, but I just use this canteen a lot because I think we were saying this on Weapon Collector's stream. You're meant to drink a lot of water a day and most people don't, so what I do is I fill this canteen up with water, and it's 1.1 litres, and then obviously drink that throughout the day. And make sure you get all the water you need, as well as having cups of tea and coffee and stuff like that. Do you have a spoon base box? You could get a spoon if you've not got your knife license, and you could check it out with your teaspoon. I mean, yeah, Airsoft Gamer, I am tempted to explore a lot of things like that. The issue is there's not much near me. I might film a video at Calvert and Hatch when I eventually get round to go into there, and I keep meaning to go and don't go. I've been threatened a few times. I've weird tramps talk to me about weird stuff, but I might do a separate video on that if I can try and recall all the weird things that happened, but I used to wear a Kevlar vest when I went to work just because you get threatened enough times to people trying to get money off you. When you say a cheap filter, do you mean a cheek filter, Game Maniac? Yeah, like, I was quite lucky when I did the Polish one not too long ago that the filters went in really easily, because I was really dreading that. I was thinking I'm going to cut all my hands open, and I never know if you're meant to have a bit of nail or if you're meant to clip your nails just before doing that, no idea. Like, let me refresh the page again, because it's lagging for me on my end, but I think it's probably fine, so let me just do that and check it's fine. Yeah, it looks all fine. So what's Richard Tricky Dick Nixon saying? On the topic of creepy, I've got this government facility down the long, narrow back road down the street from my house. There's always mutant bugs and plants down there. It's a water treatment. I guess he's going to type a bit more in a second. Yeah, beat the ghost with your slipper. Yeah, I've had a couple of weird things where you see a plane or a helicopter and they don't have their lights as you'd expect, and you think, oh, is that a UFO? And then you realise, you know, after a while it's not. Yeah, speaking about weird stuff like that, it's not the same sort of thing as your thing, but in the woods near me, there's a water treatment. I think it's like a water storage tank, and it looks like a big bunker. And there's no signs of what it is, but you go into the woods and there's like a big metal fence around it, probably 8-foot kind of fence. I can't remember if it had razor wire on the top or not, but you know, there was a big chain link fence all the way around the outside. There's a gate. There's no signs on the gate or numbers to call like what it's there for. Now and again when I've been up there, I wasn't able to peek too closely in because there was like a Land Rover parked outside and a guy stood outside on his phone. But it's just like a really big mound where there's a couple of doors going into the mound, so I think it is like some sort of water thing, but it's not marked up what it is. Saying that for the MC1, it does totally depend where you are. Like the guy's saying, if you're in Poland, you can probably get them really cheaply. Outside of Poland, not so much. Like the MC1 and the Czechoslovakian CM3, if you got them for under 10 quid with a bag and everything, that's probably a good deal. But again, it does depend, doesn't it? If you're in a country where you can get each mask cheap, then obviously don't pay too much for them. Right, I think the comments have really gone far from where I've been looking, so let me try and get through these now. So what's that thing your grandmother describes as a huge metallic person was kind of messing with my grandpa? Have I missed the first bit of that comment? But that sounds a bit creepy. Any ghost encounters you ever had, says Game Maniac. Saying about what you're saying about the leg being pulled, we were on about that in Weapon Collector's streams. There's lots of weird times where I might be laying in bed and then all of a sudden it feels like I've been jolted, but I think that's as you get off to sleep, your body's kind of trying to shut down and sometimes it jolts a bit and you feel like you've got, you know, been pulled around. I've said in the other videos, so if you want to see the really long detailed ghost story ones, I'd recommend watching my ghost story video. Have I said about the old lady on the seats? That's another weird one. But where I live, there's a Tesco's not too far from me. Tesco's is a supermarket if you're not in the UK. And there's like the tills, and then there's like a load of seats, and then there's the exit. And one time my mum was paying, this is when like must have been 4 or 5, my mum was paying for stuff and she said to me, go sit on the seats, 'cause she could supervise me there. And I went to sit on the seats, and there's an old lady on the seats, and she was saying, like, what's your name? And I was saying, well, I shouldn't talk to strangers and all stuff like that. And then she said, don't misbehave, be a good boy, or something like that. And then my mum came over, and I noticed the old lady wasn't there, even though I didn't see her get up or walk out. And my mum said, "Who are you talking to?" And I said, "The old lady." And she said, "There wasn't anybody sitting there. You're on your own." So either I had a brain fart or that was a ghost of an old woman sitting in a Tesco's. A bit weird, isn't it? Do you have any insulation pipes near your bed then that are making those noises? Yeah, they've probably got a doomsday weapon hidden there, Nixon. They've got all the solar panels to power the laser that's buried there or something, or their earthquake machine. Oh, Muckleberg collection, I've been there. Was that like where the tanks are, or one of the other rooms there that you heard the noises? There's sort of an orange haze here, but that's just, yeah, like light pollution. It's where, for me at least, it's where there's the clouds and you've got the orange street lamps, because most of the street lamps here aren't the LED kinds, they're the old orange ones, whatever they call those bulbs. Is it incandescent bulb? Or it might be another name they give them, but it's where, you know, you get the orange glow hit the clouds and then reflect back, so it looks like the sky's orange, but it's actually just the street lamps doing it. I don't know, Matthias or Matthias, you can maybe look that up if you want to find out why quid and pound are the same words. Why is $1 a buck? If you feel like it, Mike, you should go to that water treatment place with a video, like film some of it. Sounds interesting. If it's not too far away from you. There was a place where I was going to urban explore with a friend, but annoyingly they pulled it down. There used to be an old quarry not too far from me, and they had a load of like office buildings there, and like admin buildings. So we snuck in there one day, you know, like got over the fence, went around without the security guards seeing us, but annoyingly a lot of that had been pulled down. We took some photos of the like big tower that was there, because one of the old big chimneys was still there, but most of the other stuff had been all pulled down by that stage, which was annoying. Alright, see you, Bionic Commando. I know a lot of you have probably already gone if you're going to leave, but yeah, I mean, saying about that Rusalka, if I'm pronouncing that right, like saying it's like why all the GP5s and everything's so cheap, isn't it, over there? Because there's videos of people literally going into bunkers and finding crates after crates of all the respirators and everything else. So I imagine, yeah, there's lots of stuff that have been made en masse, with obviously all the factories in the Soviet Union, all the people that essentially trying to have their 100% employment rate, where they overproduce so many things that even now you can probably get them super cheap. Ah, cool, I'll have a look at that most haunted video then, because I haven't seen that one. So I can't remember, Muckleberg collection I went to like years ago, so although I did a couple of photos of the tanks there, I can't obviously remember individual bits of it. Yeah, if you've got Ilamo sort of alien stories, Ilamals, put them in the chat, it'd be interesting to read. Oh, I think I missed the first bit of your thing, Angelo. Does rumours satanic rituals go on there too? I haven't seen any sign of it. Have I missed the first bit? Oh yeah. Towner's Woods in Brady Lake, Ohio is probably one of the creepiest places I've ever been in my life. A lot of weird stuff going on there. Let me Google this now so I can have a look at it. Right, I'll have that open another tab. I'm not going to look at it all now, but I'll have a look at that a bit later. Radiation, you need a P3 filter, but obviously it won't protect you from gamma radiation. Right, cool, Mike. Yeah, that'd be good if you are around there just to film or take photos of some of it, because there's stuff like that where you know, I sort of think of things like that where you think, oh, it's a shame I didn't take a photo or a video of that. But yeah, if you're around somewhere like that, it's probably a good idea to do it. But yeah, you know, that's one of the convenient things where now, because everybody's mobile pretty much has a camera on it, doesn't it, on modern smartphones, you can at least take photos and videos of stuff now compared to years ago when you couldn't. Because obviously, like years ago, I would never like carry a camera around me all the time, so you never document anything like that if you find cool stuff. Stupid rival, them trying to make it, you know, even more restrictive with deactivated guns. They can't shoot anyway. I'm not going to go into detail into this on the stream about it, but people can manufacture very basic firearms very easily, provided they can get access to ammunition. I'll look up Denbit Asylum then, if I'm pronouncing that right. That's quite interesting. Good old sort of gothic looking building, isn't it? Apparently people have been on there on raves. Great looking building though. Shame they don't build... it's huge, isn't it? Shame they don't build things like that anymore. Really? Yeah, have you seen True Detective, Nixon? I really like True Detective, and that's all that sort of stuff, isn't it? With like the weird child-killing cult and all that. I'm pretty centre-right in politics, as somebody asked me earlier. I'm quite boring. It's sitting somewhere between I don't trust the government, but I wish we could fix the country's problems, and anarcho-capitalism is great. But I'm not actually an ANCAP, because obviously there are big problems with it as an ideology. That sounds creepy, Game Maniac. So, like some sort of weird alien thing. Yeah, that's creepy. Have you seen? You might like this alien abduction incident in Lake County. I think it's called. That's like an old found footage thing of people getting abducted by aliens. That's good. That's quite cool if you hear like old car engines or like bomber engines or whatever else. I've heard people hear like ghost train whistles and things like that who live near railways. They've said they heard stuff like that. Yeah, it's a shame, Mike, isn't it? It's obviously because a lot of it gets bulldozed to make new houses, but there used to be a massive grain silo near me, and they built a thing there. Let me think. If you search Kidlington grain silo into Google Images, it's called Water Eaton Grain Silo, technically. That's not too far away from me. I'll post it in the chat so you can see what it's actually called if you want to Google it. If you search that, that's not too far away from me, and that was a place I always wanted to urban explore, but by the point I was kind of old enough to be able to get there, you know, by myself, it was one of those places that had already been torn down. No, I don't have a metal detector. There's not really many places I take it out. I think I've said to people before, if I live near the coast, I definitely want a metal detector to walk along the beach with, but I don't think I'd find much of interest, to be honest, here. I already have enough stuff I don't use that takes up room and I waste money on that. I don't think adding a metal detector to the list would help. Oh, what's my favourite horror movie? That's a good one. Do you mean like strictly horror, like a film I'd actually think's creepy, or do you mean things that are just like fun horror? Because if you haven't seen it, check out The Legend of Hell House. That's good, I like that. I've got the book as well. I've read the book and seen the film several times. You know, we've got a lot of domestic issues here first that they need to solve before we look at foreign issues, to be honest. Yeah, that does sound a bit creepy, the alien story. I'd hope there's not going to be a new war, but like I said, our government's very fond of blaming Russia for absolutely everything when it's obviously not to do with Russia, or, you know, there's lots of doubts in my mind about it. But the thing is, I keep saying to people is, with the UK, it's people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. We've got loads of really horrible problems in our own country, and most of the politicians want to go, blame Russia, blame Russia, blame Russia, you know, rather than sorting out the problems we have here. I haven't heard of St. Thomas Hospital. I'll Google that one as well. I assume I have to search Old Wing or something, St. Thomas Hospital. Because I'm only getting old black and white pictures now, rather than anything modern. Yeah, I've seen Saw. Alright, where was I in chat? Because I'm already really far behind. Yeah, that is an L1A, L1A1 SLR, whoever was asking that, hello. I don't know if your stream's delaying, but the main issue is obviously that I'm only just getting to comments that people have made, because I'm very far behind on the comments. When you found 303 bullets, were they full cartridges, or were they just the bullets? But regardless, I'd keep them if it was me, and just not tell anyone. Yeah, the thing is that grain silo was apparently quite dangerous, because there was lots of places in the floor apparently where you could walk and then you could fall, you know, several flights down. So it was one of those proper dodgy old buildings, especially the higher you went up, you know, because most of it was concrete, but apparently a lot of it was wood, and then, you know, you really didn't want to walk across the rotten old wood because it was a long drop if you fell through. But then it's all demolished now, and it's a train station. It's, I think, Oxford Parkways they call it. It's, if I want to go into London on the train, it's like the station I'd go to, because you know, there's lots of parking spaces there out of nowhere, and then it's a direct route to London. But then I don't particularly like going to London, so I've only been on that train once there and back. Right, where was I in the chat? Because the problem is, as soon as I scroll down a bit, Valve has said they're going to make new games though. I'd rather they make a new Half-Life game before they make another Left 4 Dead, personally. Right, we'll ignore the politics questions for now, I think, because that's not what, I have seen Pat Condell's videos, yeah, but, so I'm mostly trying to actually look at the spooky things that the stream's meant to be about, rather than it derailing into politics non-stop. Well, part of the Constitution, wasn't it, was to actually have a set of rules that were meant to be followed, so all the citizens would have rights. But then, of course, politicians over time want to erode the Constitution. I have not heard of the Montauk project, so I'm going to Google that now and I'll have a look at that later. Alright, so it's just 303 casings now. I think I've got some 303s on here. It's a fake one. This will interest some of you. This is a 303, but if you look at it, if you look at the bottom, if the webcam will show it in detail, probably won't. Yes, I don't think the webcam's going to focus on that, unfortunately. but it's got Cyrillicon. This was a Lend-Lease 303 ammunition, because apparently the Soviet Union was sent by Britain either 303 rifles or like Vickers guns and things like that, and 303 ammunition. So I've got a Soviet 303 Lend-Lease here, or Soviet ammunition produced for 303. Yeah, MK Ultra, I've not done loads of reading on that, but I know that's where they gave people drugs and like tortured like mentally ill people to try and make them into assassins and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's quite a lot of these sort of old abandoned military things, aren't there, that are a bit freaky, but sadly there's nothing near me, otherwise I'd have gone and looked at them. Let's have a look. Victorian Fort Gosport. Yeah, if you like that sort of thing, have you looked at Deal Artillery Fort? Because I've been there. I think I've got videos of that, and that's like a similar thing where it's got all like the sort of dank tunnels inside it, and then obviously on the upper floors it's more furnished. But that's sort of an interesting thing, where it was a big naval battery thing. I haven't heard of the Rendlesham Forest incident, so I'll have to again look that up and then come back to it on a later video if I do. But I'll open that in a new tab and hopefully won't close my window once I'm done with the stream and lose all these tabs. Did you go and investigate then if you thought someone was breaking in? Oh, let me have a look at that, Mike. I've not seen that. I don't normally read the news, but I'm prepared for that, aren't I, if that happens? Let's have a look. Oh, it's 10 people hospitalised after deadly poison leak in Oxfordshire Village. Right, which village is it? Is it one I know? Fire crews from Abingdon and Didcot, but they're just major sort of towns near me. A house on Hannay Road in Steventon. I've never been to Steventon, I don't think, or at least don't remember it. So it's been linked to cleaning out a coral fish tank, apparently. Chemical involved in one of the world's deadliest poison. Poisonous substance. Palitoxin from exotic coral. Well, I didn't know that existed, but apparently it did, so that's just another thing that can kill you. Oh, is that the UFO thing, Deglocker? I've heard of it, but I don't know if there's any validity to it. I've not really looked into it too much. Ah, Portsmouth nuclear bunker. Is that when you can actually go in, or is that like a restricted one? Problem is, where I'm googling images, the Portsmouth one, it's just coming up with totally unrelated stuff. can't really find any info on that, because whenever I look at something, it's about an unrelated thing that Google thinks is what you're looking at. Right, where was I in chat? It totally depends where it is, Kicks. I have no clue, really. In most countries, there's no law saying that you can't, but that doesn't mean you won't get arrested, or, you know, people won't find it weird. That's interesting. I have no idea, sorry, how to pronounce your name, but... yeah, when I went to Greece, I think that was only, Rhodes I went to. Like where the Colossus of Rhodes used to be, but... yeah, as I was saying, I don't look at the news, Mike, but yeah, that's interesting. But I didn't know that, yeah, there's poisons in coral, so if you have fish tank coral, you need to be careful in case that poisons you. Right, where have I got to in chat? Because the problem is I scroll down and it scrolls down loads. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that everybody's backing up Theresa May now and going, oh, we need to expel the Russians because the Russians did something bad. No, I don't think I've ever really had any alien experiences, to be honest. I mean, there was one time I thought I saw some UFOs, but they were those Chinese lantern things, you know, where people light a flame in there and then it floats around and it glows. I've had, like, seen those and I thought that was a UFO, and to find out later it was a Chinese lantern thing. Yeah, I probably won't be going on too much longer with this stream, Mike, because my throat's getting a bit dry now, and where I had that Stronghold stream on before this one, I've been on quite a while. Not as long as you manage on your streams, but I wouldn't be able to do that. Would NATO have benefited from, like, the bigger filters? Well, prior to the Cold War, that's what Britain used on all the World War II masks. Britain had the big canister filters, but Britain moved away from it because, like most nations, they wanted lightweight filters that could attach to the masks. I mean, in terms of how long a filter lasts and everything, and how efficiently a filter works, bigger filters are better. But I think most Western countries wanted, like, light mobile kind of respirators rather than hoses attached to big filters. Blue Neon, I did have a shadow encounter when I was a lot younger that I was talking about earlier. There's a bit of a video on that. So that's probably best if you look up, like, my weird ghost story type videos. There's one where I've gone all through that because I don't want to keep retelling these stories. But I saw a shadow thing in the mirror. But I've not seen, like, the Hat Man or anything like that. I find it interesting, though. Oh, so they still have, like, bombs and bits of plane parts there that could be dangerous. Oh, nuclear shadows, yeah, that's like Hiroshima, isn't it, and Nagasaki, where the people evaporated and their shadows were left on buildings. Modern gas masks that aren't practical. So one that you don't need to work. When you say modern, how modern do you mean? Because most modern masks are going to work fine, though. So I really don't know, to be honest. Favourite firearms, the SLR. Oh, I don't have a British flag. I have the English flag that's there, but you can't see it because it's behind the screen. It depends, Linux. If you're on about firefighters, then yes, they'll use oxygen tanks or self-contained breathing apparatus. For military use, filters are still standard. No, I've not played PlayerUnknown's Battleground, but I'm not going to give the developer money after all the controversies they get in over and over and over again on it. That's cool. If there was a ghost with a gas mask on, I'd like to see that ghost. Cool. Is your VM40 in good condition? Is the Reich Eagle stamp visible on it, or is that sort of faded off? But yeah, anyway, I'm going to finish the stream in a couple of minutes anyway, because I want to get some more food. I'm hungry. It wears you down a bit doing a stream non-stop talking to people. When you say play Stalker, I guess you mean play Stalker. I might do it at another point, but not tonight. No idea what I'm going to eat. Food. Alright, has anybody else got any quick creepy things that we could talk about before I close the stream? If not, I'll call it a night then for the stream. Oh, I haven't watched Dead Mine yet, Mike. I'll get around to watching that then. I'll see if I can identify the gas masks. Because I wonder if they're actually the Japanese gas masks, if it's about the ghost samurai or whatever it is, or if they've just used other masks as stand-ins. I might be able to tell you what they are then, at some point. Which generation of military filters is that Linux Chicken? Because they buy the Avon stuff now, as far as I'm aware, which should be full ABEC-P. Because they're full-on CBRN filters, unless you mean like the old ones the M40 had or whatever. Alright, glad that you like the gas mask videos, Blue Neon Wolf. In Britain it's just coming up to about 9:15. Was she a sexy blue woman rival? Or was she a creepy old lady ghost? I don't know why they call it creepy pasta, but it's called creepy pasta. The FP5 filter is the Polish CBRN one. It's a shame it's a creepy old woman. Oh, there's another bush down that lane like that one. There's two bushes now. There's one partway down the other one. So you're walking down and you can see a thing that looks human-shaped, and as you get closer you realise it's obviously just a bit of plant that's different, but... don't think anything's haunted. If anything's haunted, it's my RPK that I've got down there, because that's the one that was probably used in the Yugoslavian genocides. But I've never had a ghost come out of it. Check eBay rival if you can't find me on eBay. I guess you're not going to find any, unfortunately. If I can get out without knocking loads of stuff over, because it's tucked behind here. There you go. I might put the AK sling on it, actually. Beastal sent me. Yeah, RPK. It's the Yugoslav RPK with an underfolder on. Yeah, I am going to be doing more night vision videos. I don't really have any scary gas mask stories. Nothing scary has ever happened. Got my XM28 on eBay when I was lucky enough to get it. But yeah, it's got the old chipped handguard, and it's got the weird underfolder on because for whatever reason the M72 AB1, the Yugoslavian model, they put an underfolder on a big RPK. So it's not got a bipod on either, it's missing. But yeah, this was an old beat up one that they were selling quite a lot cheaper, supposedly. You know, might have been used for dodgy things because it's an old Yugoslav one. Trigger's welded, safety does move. I don't want to take the dust cover off, because if you take the dust cover off, some inert rounds in there. It's got a bit dusty sitting there on the floor. If you take the dust cover off, it's hard to get it back on. Yeah, I've got the Yugoslavian M1 mask and the Serbian M2. Yeah, maybe I'll catch Michael Myers again. I did go out a couple of nights ago with the Night Fox, but I didn't spot anything interesting then. I think I got a deer on part of it, but not much else, you know. What I'm looking forward to is on Saturday, apparently we've got a blue moon, like a full moon, so I'm hoping that taking it out that night I'll get a lot of, you know, actual moonlight, and I can film some stuff for light amplification that's not even IR. I've got a Gmod. No, I don't have a dual gas mask hose adapter. I don't know what the use of that would be. If anybody's interested, I can take the front of this off, actually. So, that's obviously like the gas tube that's got nothing in it. See through it. But you can see there, maybe, where they've done the weld all along the barrel where they deactivated it. But apparently, again, this isn't up to the activation standards for modern guns somehow, so... Just get that back in so it closes. There we go. Right, I'll be finishing the stream now then, unless there's any interesting comments I missed. No, I haven't said anything about Scriptum. Can't throw a brick at the bush when it's that far away, but maybe I could go out with an opener and trim it down, nobody would notice. Don't think I've dreamed about ghosts now. If I have, I've forgotten. It's up to you how you want to keep your S10. I mean, technically a waterproof bag is more likely to keep it dry, but unless you're keeping it in a damp room, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's gone. I get mine from D&B Militaria. I can't film the Armour games because Bohemia Interactive get very funny about people playing those and not asking them permission first, so... Yeah, it's typical though, isn't it? If you've gone AFK and you just get back or get on, then that's when the stream ends. Might do another paranormal video as long as people stay on topic. There's videos on my Yugoslavian mask looking up there. I can't get them out now. I'm just closing down the stream. Alright, cheers. Glad you like the videos, Limaximus. I'd love a Bren gun, but I think sadly the Bren guns cost a lot more than that. Sounds a bit weird. I had a dream recently where I thought I actually felt pain, because I bit into a sandwich in the dream and it was like a hot sandwich and it burnt my mouth. And I think I actually did physically feel pain from that, not like simulated pain, but real pain. No, other than maybe leaving a plug in and suffocating yourself, there's no risks to the masks. Yeah, maybe YouTube doesn't like my channel because I've got stuff like this on it. Yeah, what you need to do is, if you want to view my videos regularly, just bookmark my channel page and then you'll find the videos that way. Right, I'm going to put a sling on this before I remember, so I'll put that down there. Sadly it's deactivated, so it's no use. I mean, I wish it was a real functioning one, but it's not. Maybe at some point I'll move to Pornhub if that becomes a good option, but for the moment I'll be on here. Yeah, it's not even a Russian AK though, is it? It's a Yugoslavian one. However you bookmark in your browser, I don't know if you're on Chrome or Firefox, but there's normally like a star or a button you can press that's for bookmarking. Yeah, at some point I definitely want to come to the US, go to the US on holiday, but I haven't been able to afford it yet. Anyway, right, I'm going to go off, because otherwise I'm going to keep talking and I'm never going to go off. So, see everybody, and I'll do another stream at some point. So, see you all then.